What is up? So this is M.I.L.F. and it is a new year. We're walking into a new season, and that season is becoming the woman we are meant to be. Welcome to today's M.I.L.F. M.I.L.F. standing for Mothers in Life Flourishing. I'm Sydney Michelle, and if you're here, chances are you're a mother, a woman, a human, a being with a heart and a soul, essentially. And if you're anything like me, you're standing at the edge of a new year, feeling a mix of hope, exhaustion, reflection, a little bit of defeat, and maybe even a little bit of grief for what the last year took you through or took from you. With the first full week of 2026 coming to an end, this first episode felt important to me. Very personal. Very, very personal. I wanted to record a podcast, and honestly, I let my self-doubt get in the way. Basically, getting in my head, like no one was going to listen, or I'm just not good enough. Well, this year I said, what the hell? If anything, this will help me. It'll help me release some things, say some things out loud, put it in the universe. So essentially, fuck it. I deserve this, okay? And so do you. So here I am, putting myself out there, and I really, really hope that you get something from it as well. So to me, this year, a new year, isn't just about the resolutions or a fresh planner or that whole new year, new me energy. It's about honoring who you've been. You know what? Let me rephrase that. It's about honoring who I've been, who you've been, and giving yourself and me giving myself permission to become who I'm becoming. And this year, I've decided I'm going to become who I was made to be. So here goes as I record it in the basement while my kids are sleeping. Let's get into it, MILFs. Motherhood changes you. Life changes you. And somewhere along the way, many of us stopped checking in with ourselves. I know I did. I stopped filling my cup and had a weird fixated focus on all the other little cups around me that needed to be filled, even if that meant draining my own. But not anymore. Not in 2026. We can't do that anymore. I can't allow myself to do that anymore. And I'm sure you probably feel the same way. This year, I want to normalize asking myself, who am I now? Right? So quick sidebar. I listen to church now online every Sunday because I've got 3 little kids and I know they're not going to sit through a service. And I'm kind of apprehensive about childcare in churches. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode, but basically I was listening to a sermon from Pastor Mike Jr. and he basically said, now mind you, I'm paraphrasing here and I encourage you to go and watch the sermon yourself because I do think it was really good. But he basically said that God has us go through things to grow, right? Which we knew. But then he said, in order to find yourself, you have to start to put yourself back together, meaning you have to remember, like remember. Your members are parts of you, right? So members of you could be like your fingers, your hands, your soul. And we have to begin to reattach our members. So that's what he meant by you have to remember yourself. You literally have to find your pieces and start putting yourself back together. So the question isn't how did you lose yourself, but who took it from you? And he said, yes, we are all survivors of what we go through, but the reality is that we don't know which parts of us survived because we essentially stopped taking inventory of what parts of us survive the trials and tribulations that we go through, right? So his example was, okay, you made it out, but your peace didn't. You made it out of that bad relationship, but your peace didn't make it out. Or your attitude hasn't been the same. Or your patience hasn't been the same since that last trial, right? Okay, well, my last trial was essentially all of 2025. 2025 was the biggest trial for me, and it honestly was the hardest year to date for myself and the things that were thrown at me. And if I'm being honest with myself and if I'm being real, my patience and I felt it diminishing through 2025, but my patience is just not there, which is really hard when you're a mom, especially a mom of 3 toddlers, everybody knows who has toddlers or is around toddlers all the time. They're very trying. They're very demanding. They do the most all the time. And quite frankly, like, I feel like I haven't had the emotional capacity and the patience to deal with that. So I feel myself snapping on them more times than not, which then leads me into a place of severe mom guilt and just feeling essentially really shitty about it. So yeah, 2025 for me, rough patch, and my patience since going through everything that I went through last year hasn't been the same. And I feel like I wake up with an attitude more times than not, and I'm just frustrated with my current reality. So 2026 for me has to be intentional. Like, I'm taking it very personal. I have to find myself again. 2026 is about me. I have to figure out who I am now, who I want to be, and who God is calling me to be above everything else. And I feel like I've kind of gotten blindsided from that. So I felt like that sermon was really beneficial to me when I heard it, and it really touched me. So I'll leave a link. So if you're feeling it, you can go and watch it yourself, and you all let me know what you think. But I also want to normalize the questions. What do I need in this season? What am I ready to release? As in, like, what can I let go of? What am I willing to compromise? And essentially, what am I not willing to compromise? What are my boundaries? Some boundaries, okay, I might be able to take a step back from, and then some boundaries I might enforce stronger than ever. I don't know. We'll see. But that's something that I feel like we should all really think about and figure out are the answers to those questions. So now, baddies, my little baddie MILFs, it's no pressure. There's no need to invent ourselves overnight. It's not possible, or at least it's not for the longevity of ourselves, right? So we're supposed to be flourishing. And flourishing doesn't mean burning everything down and starting over. We have to give ourselves grace here. Sometimes flourishing looks like setting softer boundaries, setting harder boundaries, choosing rest without guilt, and letting go of versions of ourselves that no longer fit. And finally, admitting to ourselves and to others, I matter too. My dreams matter. My wants matter. And my sanity matters. And even if all of 2025, you've been putting everybody in front of you, you can switch that. You can stop that in this moment and decide, you know what? My cup is empty. I need to fill it before I fill anybody else's, right? So like on an airplane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. Because if you help other people get theirs on and yours isn't on, well, you're going to pass out. You're not going to make it. So it's essentially the same thing. We have to figure out who we are and what we need before we can show up to help other people with their needs. So if last year was heavy, I get it. If you're walking in this year tired but hopeful, I also get it. And if you're struggling on that hope part where you're just walking into 2026 tired, girl, same. I'm right here with you. We are walking hand in hand. You don't have to have it figured out. God knows I don't. And essentially, we're the blind leading the blind here. And this podcast for me is just an outlet to speak to real women who know and are willing to admit that motherhood is hard, and it's hard to be a mother, but it's hard to keep yourself while being a mom. So, like I said, you don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to keep showing up with honesty. We've got to be real with ourselves and be real with others. When people ask how you're doing, and these are real people in your corner, let them know. Girl, I'm struggling today. This is why. If they're people that you can really trust, let them in. This year isn't asking you to be perfect. Because I know us moms, we like everything to be perfect, create perfect little memories, the perfect outfits for the perfect pictures, especially in this day and age, right? When everything is Instagrammable and TikTokable. We want everything to be perfect. That's the society we live in. But this year, let's go into it with the mindset and walk through it in the mindset of we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be present. We have to be intentional, and we have to be kind to ourselves as we grow. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It's being intentional and making little changes here and there to find the end result. We're planting seeds, and essentially we're going to water them all through the year, and then we're going to see the beautiful garden that pops up at the end. So again, we're not being perfect. We're being present. We're being intentional, and we're giving ourselves grace and being kind to ourselves as we grow. And that's essentially what I want today's M.I.L.F to be. That's what, to me, today's M.I.L.F is about. It's not the raunchy acronym. It's Mothers in Life Flourishing. We're a group of moms or women. You don't even have to be a mom, but you're in your life and you're trying to flourish and you're just trying to figure it out. This is the space for you. My goal is to create an unapologetic space where modern motherhood meets confidence, purpose, and power. We are deciding to flourish first and mother always. So we're not dropping the mom. We're always going to be a mom. Our little humans are always going to need us, and we're always going to be there for them. But like I said, we can't be our best selves for them if we can't be our best selves for ourselves. So we're deciding right now in this moment to flourish first and mother always. We are not surviving motherhood, and we are not losing ourselves in it, but flourishing through it as a mother, as a woman, as a whole being. So as we step into this new year together, I want to leave you with this. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to rest. And you are allowed to become someone new without apologizing. This is your season. This is your space. And this is just the beginning. Thank you so much for being here, my fellow M.I.L.Fs, my mothers in life flourishing. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another M.I.L.F who might need it as well. Follow along, leave a review, and join the conversation. Remember, you're more than a mom, you're a woman in motion, and you deserve to flourish. Until next episode.